Let's go through your process, especially now that you are looking to take on being a fund manager and doing fund of funds. What does your due diligence process look like? So when a deal operator, a deal sponsor come to you and say, "Hey Paula, hey Adriana, love to have you come on this deal." What is your process? What are the steps that you take?
Want to start?
We do have a long list that we follow. It is a long list. And then I'm going to start with some and then Paula can follow. But yesterday we having a great conversation with a pilot. He is interested in investing with us and he's asking the same question. And the first and foremost important for me and for Paula is crime. That's the number one, like in the top of the list, number one. So we have to make sure that that goes well. So there's many sources that we use. And if that passes the check mark, then we move forward to the rest. But the number one thing is crime. Make sure that there was one property that we were looking at not too long ago. And when we looked at the crime was really high. It looked red. Red is the worst. Some of the websites that we look at, they go by color from green to red, correct? And then there were some comments, no, it's not really, the crime is not really high. I said, how come it's showing red? So let's go. Come on, let's go on a drive. Best thing is to go on a field trip. So we go on a field trip. Obviously, we stop by Buc-ee's and we get whatever it is that you hit at Buc-ee's, right? That's a must. And then we arrive to the destination. And then we figure that the reason why it was red is because it was an industrial area. Everything about the building, all around it was industrial. So whether the crime might not be high, but because if industrial is already maybe considered high. The building was a great building, actually a newer building, very beautiful building, but the surrounding areas, unfortunately, was just not the best. So that's for us is the number one. And from there on, it is a long list, a lot of data. We do use a lot of data. We look at population, we look at job growth, demographics. It just, the list goes on and on, but we go into the nitty gritty. We really go down to absolutely anything in data that we can consume around that property, around the city, around the neighborhood. Is it a submarket? Is it a main market? And I'm sure Paula would like to add some to that.
Yeah, I will tell you that on a personal note, I lost a property last year. It was in Memphis. And you hear the stories right now of the president going into Memphis, and everyone's, oh, up in arms. And I'm like, hey, I wish you would have gone a year ago because I had a little small single family rental and it was in an IRA, so it was managed. And I just couldn't get the police to go over there and do their job. And I fought it for about 6 months, spent a lot of money. And finally I said, I'm spending more money than I've spent on the property. So I gave up. I said, okay, let's fire sale it, get it out of the portfolio so we can spend the money and the time. It's really the time on something much more lucrative. And so I did that. And I'm not sorry now that I did it. But at the time, the daily grind of trying to put cameras there, keep the compressors from being stolen, the coppers being stolen, windows being broken, it was just an all-out effort to destroy my property. And I just couldn't get the support that I needed. And I couldn't go to Memphis all the time and depend on the people that I have. Changed partners many times, managers, et cetera. It just didn't happen. So I gave up and I said, okay, I win because this way I can spend my time on something much more lucrative. But that's just one example of the issue with crime. To me, it's not just the crime. If you can manage the crime in some way or mitigate the crime, buffer zones, police officers, et cetera, that's great. You may spend a lot of money that you don't really have, and it's not your money, it's your investors' money. But in the end, if you don't have the support of the local police, it's something that's not going to happen. And so we all need to look at that. What's going on in the city council? Are they funding their police? I know in Austin, they went for 4 or 5 years without funding the police. And we went through craziness because of it. So luckily for us now, the police are funded. And so we can guarantee more safety here. And that's one of the reasons why I moved right outside the city. So anyway, that's not the only thing that we look at. We look at job growth. We do extensive research on partners and businesses coming to the city. We make contact with the city and the business development directors. There's a lot of things we research for the city council and PNC zoning to see how they work well together. I think that's really important and what they need as far as absorption is concerned. And also some of the hidden jobs that may be coming with regard to the military, things like that. Those can really drive your property's value if it has really good dirt. In some of the areas where we checked out, if you have an area where it's industrial or blue collar, at least for the time being in certain places, then that may define your highest rent level. Whereas if you're in a property that's surrounded by properties, single family residential, where the average median income is much higher, then it gives you much more options. We're looking at other property right now where the median property is upwards of 450,000 per unit. They need multifamily units, and the city council is clamoring for that. That's their idea of diversity, is having different housing. That's beneficial to us.
Yeah, and I think adding to that a little bit too is working hand in hand very close with the city is important to know what the plans are. This is public information, so it's important to know who's coming to town, who's moving in, what businesses are moving in, just because it gives you an idea of what's going on, who's coming, and based on that also plan ahead. So it's important to work with the city and do a lot of research. It's incredible the amount of information that you can actually grab from each city, each municipality. So I think it's also important to do as much as we can, try to work and find out what's going on with the city. There's great information out there. You just have to dig it though, for sure.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to pick up the phone too and
Yep.
just talk to people. Get the
Correct.
data.
Yeah. So with you going, that deep into the area, do you try to focus on just a few areas that you would partner with operators on and get involved in those deals? Or you're open to many areas, and then whichever deals that you do go on, that you just go deeper into all that research with the city and everything?
Right now, most of the deals that we're looking at are in Texas. As we know, we always be looking to the healthiest market that at least it has been for the last 5 years. Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin is not even in the map anymore, not for now. But anyways, so it's mostly Texas for now. And yes, once we know what markets we like, and right now we're looking more into sub-markets if possible. We've seen that after the last couple of years, sub-markets have been working better than main markets. And once we found a property or a property that is available, then we go into the search. So we're in Texas, and then deals are coming in literally every week. There's someone that is saying we need money. So we look at every single deal, but starting with the crime, and then once that passes the inspection, then we move on with the loan list.
I know we had a great conversation yesterday around vetting the deal sponsors and background search and research and things like that. Some fund managers approach it from doing their vetting on the deal sponsor first before they even look at the deal. Do you do something similar, or do you look at the deal first, and then if the deal passed, then you go do deeper research on the sponsors? What is your order?
I would say that we're so connected with other investors, with other rooms of investment. And we're also in a different mastermind with Mauricio Raul, Platinum Learning. And so we stick pretty much to the things that are in public. They're already in the public, and he's very quick to talk about them, about what to watch out for with sponsors. I would love to look at a deal first, and if it gets even close to that, we give everyone the benefit of the doubt until there's something that happens that is a red flag. So it's usually not us that reveals it. They pretty much reveal it themselves, and they just don't know it. And so what I would say to all the sponsors is, when you put your information out, be very coordinated. And make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's before you present or speak, because it's very important that the message is consistent. And if you have one red flag, that's okay. If you have two red flags, well, that's okay, maybe. And if you have three red flags, okay, we really need to look at this. Is this something that's real and true? And then we start digging. And it doesn't take long. We are connected with other investors from all over the country, and they talk, and some of them talk more than I would be very careful because of reputation. I wouldn't want someone to say that about me. But at the same time, if you've had somebody that's had 4 or 5 calls, then you have to think about that. We've seen a lot of iffy things happen in the last 3 or 4 years, and then we've seen some downright fraud. And Jim, you've seen it as well. So we all have to be careful. Remember that it's not our money, it's somebody else's money. So transparency is important, honesty is important, and I always like to pay myself last. If I can say that I do that, then that's the deal I want to be at. If I send a deal like this, something that looks out of the ordinary to me, to Mauricio, he goes, that's going to be flagged by Paul Atkins of the SEC. I rely on him because he's always been so honest with me before. And he's, I will keep you out of jail. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that, yeah, we usually look at the data. We go really deep into the data, really deep into, we walk the property, physically walk the property. And then once all that has happened, we go into the underwriting. Once we do the underwriting, we usually use another set of eyes. So we always hire a third set of eyes, another company that will do the underwriting with us and for us. So we do it ourselves and then we write, and then we always hire somebody else. And then once everything has passed on that, then we go ask the operators, we do background checks. And it's funny how people react to this. It's hilarious how people react. Are you doing a background on me? Yeah, you could be worth $2 billion and I still want to do I don't know anything about you. I've never been with you. I don't know who you are. So yes, I want to do a background on you and please be my guest. Do a background on myself as well. But people, the reactions of people when you ask that is really funny. But I think that's it. We all have a past and I don't know what happened and what had happened in between. But I think it's important to have that as well and to know who are we dealing with. And I always said to everyone else, as I was talking to this pilot yesterday, I say, if this investment is good for my mom, then it's good for my investors. My mother invests money with us. My brother invests with us. My son invests with us. Because if it's good enough for my family, and especially my mother, she doesn't have a husband anymore. He passed away. If it's good enough for her, it's good enough for my investors. And he has to pass that test. And if he doesn't pass that test, I'm sorry, but we're moving next. So that's the reason why we really, Paula and I, have to feel that I go to sleep at night in peace, knowing that I've done everything that it has taken to be able to know that this investor's money is the safest it can be. And that is probably the ultimate test, is that we need to sleep in peace at night saying, we're being honest and we're doing absolutely everything that is out there to make sure that this is the real deal. So if it's good enough for my mom, it's good enough for everybody else.